Hola, ¿qué tal amigos? ¿Cómo están el día de hoy? Yo estoy bien. Buenos días, buenas tardes y buenas noches. No importa la hora que sea, siempre es un gran momento para aprender español con Profesor Pablo. La lección del día ahora es Past Preterite. Lesson number 1 of 8 or 9, sound the trumpets. We've talked about laying the foundation. We talked about the engine, right? The left side is the present tense. We talked about the right side being the preterite and the top middle being the infinitive form, and everything else, all the pumps and hoses and such that are connected to the engine would be everything else in the Spanish language. At some point, you're going to see my Spanish verb universe. It's like a planetary system. It shows the present tense as a big round globe, red, and from that we get all our commands, and we get the present subjunctive, which is high-level Spanish communication. Then you're going to see a smaller planet, but the second biggest one will be the preterite, and from that we get the past subjunctive. And then we have the infinitive is a big planet, and from that comes the future and the conditional. And so that's just about it for our language. But the formation is laying the foundation, which is the present tense, which we have done, the infinitive, which we have done, and now we're doing the preterite. So lesson 1 of the preterite, we have regular preterite verbs. Now you can see there are IR verbs here, AR verbs, and also ER verbs. In the sum totality of the Spanish language, I would venture to say there are less than 1% of the verbs in the Spanish language are IR verbs, much less than 1%. They are hard to find. It's like trying to find a four-leaf clover to find a regular IR verb. There are a few other IR verbs, and we'll be studying those when we get to stem changing and so on and so forth, but they are very few. Now, how many ER verbs are there? Certainly a lot more ER verbs than IR, but still, it's a very small group of verbs. ER verbs, I'm guessing maybe 3% of all the verbs in the Spanish language. So if you're doing the mathematics, that leaves 96%. I'm just guessing that 96% of verbs in the Spanish language are AR verbs, and most of those AR verbs are regular AR verbs. So today we're dealing with regular verbs. That is to say, when we change them out in their forms. Now, if you talk about an onion, you peel an onion, you dice an onion. Tomatoes, you slice them, right? Bananas, you slice them. Meat, you cut it. Every food type, it has its own key word. Just like verbs changing from one form to another is called conjugating. C-O-N-J-U-G-A-T-E. To conjugate the verb. It's a real clunky grammatical term, but that's what we do when we change the forms of the verbs. We conjugate the verb. I had a buddy, Spanish teacher friend, and he said he had the student in class all the time and said, "Hey, Mr. So-and-so, are we going to congregate verbs today?" Hilarious. But anyways, conjugation. Now in Spanish, we have 5 forms. Technically, there are 6. There is a plural form of 2, which is vosotros, but in standard Latin American Spanish, that's not taught. However, we will have a lesson on the vosotros form. Like you hear the verb ending in ice, ace, and east. That's upcoming. You hear that in Spain, but in standard Latin American Spanish, you don't hear it. And certainly you can go to Spain with these 5 forms and function 100% perfectly fine. Okay, so let's take a verb. Let's take ganar. Let's conjugate it all the way through. Gané, I won. Ganaste, you won. Ganó, he won, she won. Usted, you won, and it won, like a proposal. It won, ganó. We won, ganamos. The N factor, they won, ganaron, or ustedes, you, plural, you guys won, ganaron. Let's take an IR verb. Let's take abrir, very common. I opened, abrí. You opened, abriste. He or she or it or you, usted, opened, abrió. We opened, abrimos. They opened, abrieron. Remember, when you conjugate a regular verb, you take off the infinitive ending. The AR we took off of ganar, and then we did our conjugating. For the verb abrir, we took the IR off, and then we did the conjugating. Let's take a look at an ER verb. Let's take a look at, let's go with correr, to run. I ran, corrí. You ran, corriste. She ran, corrió. We ran, corrimos. They ran, corrieron. So it's easy to conjugate these verbs, not a problem. Let's take a look at the to form, which is very common. Talking to a friend, okay? Did you work? Trabajaste. Did you win? Ganaste. Caminar. Did you walk? Caminaste. Did you leave? Saliste. Vivir. Did you live in Mexico for a year? ¿Viviste en México por un año? No, but I lived in Panama for a year. No, pero viví en Panama por un año. Did you get the letter? ¿Recibiste la carta? Did you open the windows? ¿Abriste las ventanas? Did you climb the mountain? ¿Subiste la montaña? Did you cover it up? ¿Lo cubriste? Did you cover it up? Reunirse, it's a reflexive verb, so we have the me, the te, the se, the nos, and the se. Okay, we have to use our reflexive pronoun in front. So for you, the se would become te. Put it in front, get rid of the IR. Did you get together with your friends? Te reuniste con tus amigos? Hundirse is to sink. Now in real life, the only thing that really sinks, it would be a boat or a ship, something of that nature. However, if you're playing a video game like Mario Brothers, who knows, you may be on a raft on a lake or in the ocean somewhere or on a river and you sink, right, on the video game. So if I wanted to say you're playing a video game, did you sink? Te hundiste, se changes to te, take the IR off and add iste. Te hundiste? No, I did not sink. No, yo no me hundí. Did you run? Corriste. Did you drink water? Bebiste agua. Did you sweep the floor? Barriste el piso. Again, I don't rain and you don't rain and we don't rain and they don't rain. This would just be simply it rained. So it would be the third one, llovió. It rained a lot, llovió mucho. It didn't rain at all, no llovió nada. Prometer, to promise. Did you promise? Prometiste? Did you promise mom? ¿Le prometiste a mamá? Aprender. Did you learn Spanish? ¿Aprendiste español? Did you learn mathematics? ¿Aprendiste matemáticas? Did you learn history? ¿Aprendiste historia? You went away for the summer and you took some summer courses abroad. Volver. Did you return on time? ¿Volviste a tiempo? Perder. Did you lose? Perdiste. All right, let's take a look at our AR verbs. Did you work last night? ¿Trabajaste anoche? Did you win yesterday? ¿Ganaste ayer? Did you walk to school this morning? ¿Caminaste a la escuela esta mañana? Llorar. Did you cry? ¿Lloraste? Did you cry when you heard it? ¿Lloraste cuando lo escuchaste, cuando lo oíste? ¿Lloraste? Did you shout? ¿Gritaste? Did you shout at me? ¿Me gritaste? Esperar. Did you wait? ¿Esperaste? Did you wait for mom? ¿La esperaste a mamá or le esperaste a mamá? Llamar. Did you call me? ¿Me llamaste? Preguntar. Did you ask something? ¿Preguntaste algo? What did you ask? ¿Qué preguntaste? Cantar. Did you sing at school yesterday? ¿Cantaste en la escuela ayer? Limpiar. Did you clean your room? ¿Limpiaste tu cuarto? ¿Limpiaste tu habitación? Did you invite your friends? ¿Invitaste a tus amigos? So we're seeing with regular verbs, it's just a piece of cake. These are the endings for AR, and these are the same endings for ER and IR. Okay, let's go randomly. Let's start over here. I did not invite anyone. This is where we're going. No invité a nadie. Limpiar. Mom cleaned the house. Mom would be the third one. Mamá limpió la casa. Cantar. My sister sang at school. Mi hermana cantó. Cantó en la escuela. I didn't ask anything. Right here. Yo no pregunté nada. Llamar. I called you. Te llamé. You called me. Me llamaste. Esperar. We waited for the kids. Esperamos a los niños. Remember, when you do something to a person, you need to use that a phrase. Esperamos a los niños. We waited for the man. Esperamos al señor. We waited for the lady. Esperamos a la señora. Gritar. I didn't shout. Yo no grité. Yo no grité. Why did you shout at me? ¿Por qué me gritaste? Llorar. Why did the baby cry so much? ¿Por qué el bebé lloró tanto? ¿Por qué lloró tanto el bebé? Let's go over here. They lost. Perdieron. Perdieron. Volver. I returned late. Volví tarde. Aprender. I learned a lot at school. Aprendí mucho en la escuela. What did you learn? ¿Qué aprendiste tú? Prometer. I did not promise her anything. No le prometí nada. Llover. It rained. Llovió. Llovió. Barrer. Dad swept the floor. Papá barrió el piso. Beber. We drank coffee. Bebimos café. Correr. They ran to the school. Corrieron a la escuela. Hundirse. The boat sank. El barco se hundió. The ships, they sank. Los buques se hundieron. I got together with my buddies. Me reuní con mis amigos. Did you cover it up? Lo cubriste? Lo cubriste? Subir. I climbed the mountain. Subí la montaña. Abrir. We opened the windows. Abrimos las ventanas. I opened the door. Yo abrí la puerta. Recibir. I got the money in the mail. Recibí el dinero en el correo. Vivir. I lived in Australia for 7 years. Viví en Australia por 7 años. Salir. We left early. Salimos temprano. I left late. Salí tarde. They left on time. Salieron a tiempo. They left a little bit late. Salieron un poco tarde. Let's go here for some more AR verbs. We walked along the shore. Caminamos por la orilla. O-R-I-L-L-A. Caminamos por la orilla del mar. Ganar. They won. Ganaron. I won. Gané. She won. Ganó. You won. Ganaste. We won. Ganamos. Trabajar. We all worked. Todos trabajamos. I worked a lot last summer. Trabajé mucho el verano pasado. Did you work last night? ¿Trabajaste anoche? Okay, we're finishing up laying the foundation, right? The present tense is done. Infinitives, we're done with infinitives, and now we're taking on the right side of the engine, the preterite. And then when we're done with that, we will complete our foundation. So again, the regular AR endings are A, aste, O, amos, aron. For ER and IR verbs, I, iste, yo, imos, ieron. Let's take a look at our accent marks. Okay, let's start over here. Do we have any? No, no hay. Do we have any? ¿Tenemos algunos? Do we have? ¿Tenemos algunos? No, no tenemos ninguno. No, we don't have a single one. Aquí hay? Are there any here? Aquí hay? No, no hay. No, there aren't. Aquí hay? No hay. There aren't. Aquí hay y and yo. In Spanish, here are the two rules of pronunciation. And if you violate those rules of pronunciation, wherever the violation takes place, that gets an accent mark. Because it is a violator vowel, it breaks the rule. Also, if you see a word with no accent mark, it means it doesn't violate any rule and you pronounce it based on the 2 rules of pronunciation. So you're thinking, Pablo, what are the 2 rules? Okay, we've said them a lot. If a word ends in N, S, or a vowel, the stress on the word is supposed to be the second vowel back from the end of the word. Okay? So right here, like sali, if a word ends in the accented I, it is because the word ends in a vowel. It breaks the rule because words that end in a vowel are supposed to be stressed 2 vowels back. This is stressed at the very end. It breaks the rule, it gets an accent mark. Sali. Right here, like recibió, same thing. It ends in a vowel. It breaks the rule. We need to put an accent mark on it. And when you see the accent mark when you're reading a word, even if you don't know it, that accent mark tells you, hey, when you read this word in your mind, silently or out loud, make sure you put the stress under the accent mark. In this case, the O. How about over here, the A and the O? Same thing. Words that end in N, S, or a vowel are supposed to be stressed 2 vowels back. If a word ends in N, S, or a vowel and it's not stressed 2 vowels back, it's a violator vowel. Give it a ticket, give it an accent mark, and pronounce it accordingly. Now, what is the other rule of pronunciation? Well, think about it. If a word does not end in N, S, or a vowel, it is supposed to be stressed on the last vowel, okay, of the word. That's why infinitives, salir, vivir, recibir, all these I's are stressed. But that's where the stress goes because infinitives end in R. Last time I checked, right? In R is not an N, S, or a vowel. So words that end in N, S, or a vowel are supposed to be stressed 2 vowels back. Words that do not end in N, S, or a vowel are to be stressed on the last vowel. That's why infinitives don't have accent marks. They follow the rule, okay? All right, that's it for past preterite. We've got 7 or 8 more lessons to go. This is our first one for regular verbs. Remember, 96% of the verbs in Spanish are AR verbs, maybe 3% ER, and maybe 1% IR verbs. However, the ER verbs and IR verbs that we do have, those 4% of verbs, they're used a lot more than 4% of the time. I just want you to know that as we go through stem changing verbs and so on. We'll point those out to you. Okay, that's it. I say cambio fuera, like the old police radio, the airplane pilot goes, cambio, you're having a conversation, cambio, that means over. You keep talking, and when you want to end the conversation, you go, cambio fuera, over and out. I also like to say, colorín colorado, este cuento se ha acabado. Ladies and gentlemen, snip, snap, snout. This tale is all told out. Okay, thanks for tuning in. We're moving along. Our lessons, we're into the 60s now. We got many, many, many great lessons to come. So thanks for sticking with us. Keep with it, and you will become fluent. And hey, I didn't speak Spanish. I had nobody in my family that spoke Spanish. When I started studying Spanish, 4th grade teacher, I learned how to count to 10 and do the colors, right? That was my inspiration. I took it in junior high school a couple of semesters. I memorized dialogues. I had fun with it. I played with it. And then in high school, I took 4 years of it. But I didn't have any neighbors. I didn't have any family members that spoke Spanish. So I learned this all on my own, just by being inspired and going after it. I wanted to learn it. And why is it so easy? Everybody on the face of the earth learns his or her native language exceedingly well so they can speak it fluently, communicatively, with no problem. So we're trying to do something that everybody on the face of the earth can do. We're just trying to learn a second language. And again, we can't stick around for 5 years to get our fluency going, right? We want to get it going right now. That's why we have the triple T, the tips, the tricks, and the tools. And you can manipulate language and create sentences, one after another, okay? I could say here, let's make a long sentence with ganar. We won the game because we are a good team. Ganamos el partido porque, there's your linking word, Now we take the verb ser, which we studied a couple of lessons ago. Somos un buen equipo. Let's expand that. We won the game because we are a good team, because we practice a lot. Ganamos el partido porque somos un buen equipo. Now let's go to the present tense. Practicamos mucho. We practice a lot. And we have a great coach. Wow, that's a long one, isn't it? Ganamos el partido porque somos un buen equipo y practicamos mucho y tenemos, we have, a un gran entrenador. Notice I use the a after tenemos. Anytime you do something to a person, you've got to use that person late. We have a great coach. Tenemos a un gran entrenador. We started off with a preterite. We went to somos in the present tense. We went to practicamos, and we went tenemos. We had one verb in the preterite and 3 in the present tense. That's how you do it. Okay, that's it for now. Hasta pronto. Tengan un gran día. This is Profesor Pablo signing off. Cambio fuera.